Purpose of this video is to help those of you who might have failed that solving test a couple weeks ago. This week they are learning about something else that is kind of extra, so we figured we would take this week and give you 2 solving rescue activities, and then give you the test again from chapter 5, which you took a couple weeks ago, just to give you a chance to kind of make up for that. But outside of that, just make sure you're writing down everything that I write. That way you can get credit for this, because if you're watching this, it's because you did not have the solving down, and we need to find some way to kind of help you see it. So first thing I want you to do on all of these things is draw a line down the equal sign. So make sure that's there. What we're looking at here is you have to start seeing it as terms. You have a x term and you have a plus 5 term. So go ahead and put a box around that plus 5, which we have to get rid of. X is over here with a positive 5 that is being added. And so what you have to learn to do is anytime you see plus 5, the way you move it is by putting minus 5 here and also copying underneath that 10. So 1 on the left, 1 on the right. The x comes down. These 5s cancel out, and 10 minus 5 is 5. Once you get the pattern down, and like I said, some of you have actually been trying to pick it up, which is good, but you've got to understand again that once you get the pattern down, it's really the easiest thing to do, so just be careful. Here again, we have x minus 6 equals 11. Draw our line through the equal sign so we have our barrier. And again, we are looking at a minus 6 connected to x through addition subtraction. So if you want to move a minus 6, we are going to move it with a plus 6. So we're taking this whole thing and moving it out of the way. So x comes down, the 6's cancel out, and 11 plus 6 is 17. You are literally taking the term and getting rid of it and sending it to the other side. So you don't need to draw this arrow, but you're literally just doing this to send that 5 away from x so it's alone. Number 3, same thing. As we look at this, we've got the equal sign, which is our wall. You have x over here with a positive 2 or a 2 that is being added to the x, and the way we move that plus 2 again is by its opposite, which is to put minus 2 and minus 2. We then draw our line to show that we're going to simplify. X comes down, that stuff is gone. 18 minus 2 is 16. It's not that bad, but again, you have to make sure you take it seriously enough to make sure you practice this, but again, also make sure you're copying this so you can get credit for this stuff today. X minus 3 equals 7. Again, what you want to look at is that there is a minus 3 that is being added, subtracted to your x, and the way we move that minus 3 is with a plus 3. X comes down, those 3's go away, 7 plus 3 is 10, and that is all. So again, you're looking at the term itself and moving the term, which is why you use the opposite. The way you get rid of a plus 5 is with a minus 5. The way you get rid of a minus 6 is with a plus 6. A plus 2 moves with a minus 2, and a minus 3 moves with a plus 3. Just use the opposite. So again, I'll be moving through these, at least the next 4, a little faster here because we've seen it. So again, we have a plus 1 with that x that we need to move, and we're going to move it by putting minus 1. X comes down, 6 minus 1 is 5, and that is all. We have to start viewing what is with x, and the term that's with x is the plus 1. The plus 1 must go, and that's what we do. Here, drawing our line through our equal sign, viewing this as a minus 10, we will move this with a plus 10. X comes down, 13 plus 10 is 23, and that is what we're looking at. All right. Number 7, same thing. Draw your line down the middle. We have a plus 3 here. That must go by using the opposite, which is a minus 3. Don't ever put a plus 3 under a plus 3. That doesn't do anything. Positive 3, negative 3 is 0. 10 minus 3, 7. Use your fingers if you have to, but make sure you add that stuff up the right way so that you get what you're supposed to get out of this stuff. And again, pause the video as you need to. Just make sure you get everything copied and everything done exactly the way I'm doing it. Here, x minus 9, that minus 9 here is what has to go. So minus 9 moves with a plus 9 and a plus 9. X comes down with 20. All right. The number 9 It does not matter what side x is on. On this one, x is on the left. On this one, x is on the right. But it's the same thing. You look at your x, draw your line through the equal sign, and what's with x is a plus 2. So it doesn't matter if it's on this side. You're moving this plus 2 with a minus 2 and a minus 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. X comes down. That's your answer. It doesn't matter what side it's on. Identify who's with x. Again, you don't need to write those boxes when you do it later on after this worksheet, but I need you to start seeing that this is what we are moving. We need x by itself. It has minus 1 with it. The way we move minus 1 is with plus 1. 10 plus 1 is 11. Bring down your x. That should be your ending. Again, everything we're doing is left to right. 10 plus 1 was first, just like over here, x came down first. Everything you want to do after you rewrite is left to right. Number 11. X is on the right. It's with a plus 2. The way we move a plus 2 is with a minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. X comes down to finish this off. Number 12, same thing. X minus 4 is off to the right. The minus 4 is what we have to get rid of. This negative 4, the way we move a minus 4 is with a plus 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. Equals comes down. X comes down. Again, because you're learning, because you're trying to get this down, make sure you're not losing your equal sign. Make sure you're keeping everything in order like you're supposed to. So this is where I kind of show you, or this is where we kind of talk about the things that don't look the way that you're used to. We're going to draw this line for the equal sign, and what's attached to x is 4. This 4 is the same as this 2, which is a positive 2. So don't pay attention to this sign because that belongs to x. This is a positive 4. And the way you move a positive 4 is with a negative 4. This goes away. X, which is positive, comes down. 9 minus 4 is 5. All right, so that's where you want to be careful whenever they get flipped around. But it's the same thing. This is still a positive 9. Again, draw your line through the equal sign. 9 is with x, not 9 plus. That plus goes with x. How do you get rid of a positive 9? Well, with a negative 9. X comes down. 19 minus 9 is 10. And that is all you're looking to do. Same thing on 15. X is over here with 2. This 2 has got to go. It is a positive 2. That's what you're looking at. It's a positive 2. So we move it with a negative 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. X comes down on the right, and that is all. And then 16, same thing. X is over here with 1. We need to move this 1. That 1 is positive 1, just like this positive 2 here. It's a positive 1. Again, no sign means it's positive. So you subtract that 1, getting 9, getting x, and being done. All right. Number 17 is similar, but you just want to be careful because what's attached to x this time is a negative 3. And again, just like in this one, the way we got rid of a negative 1 was with a plus 1. The way we got rid of a negative 4 was with a plus 4. Same thing goes here. The way we're going to get rid of this negative 3 is with plus 3. Don't look at that symbol. That's with your x. The opposite of negative 3 is plus 3. So that's what we're going to do. Bring down your x on the left. 9 plus 3 is 12. And that is the answer that you're looking for. Same thing on 18. X is over here with a negative 1. So how do you get rid of a negative 1? That is with a plus 1, and with a plus 1, x comes down. 6 plus 1 is 7, and that is all. Number 19. Doesn't matter what side x is on. This time x is on the right side, but it's still with a negative 3, which means what I have to do is move the negative 3 with a plus 3. That has to become your habit. 8 plus 3 becomes 11. Again, you're working that out. That's gone, and x comes down. I'm seeing people bring down some very weird things in terms of adding and subtracting, but it comes from the line above you. I don't know why people are looking above here. Once you get to this line and some of those two-step equations, you are looking at the line that you're working on, not anything else. Anyway, we'll talk about that tomorrow when we do your other one, or your next lesson when we do our other one. So again, x is over here with a negative 2. So the way we get rid of a negative 2 is with a positive 2. 6 plus 2 is 8, and 8 is equal to x. Now, we should hopefully know by now that this is 6 times x. We have talked about, or should have talked about, the fact that if you get rid of multiplication is with division, but you are still getting rid of this piece here. And the way you get rid of that 6, because it's being multiplied, no operation, is by dividing by 6. Those two cancel out. 12 divided by 6 is 2, and that is all. It's not a tough process. It's not a hard question. You just have to practice it. And the bad news is, if you don't practice it, you're going to fall behind quickly, because we're not covering solving anymore after this week. And you want to make sure you at least have the idea down, because solving is going to pop up in a lot of areas. Here, you want to get rid of this 9. That's what has to go. Well, that's 9 times x, so we need to get rid of that 9 by dividing by 9. X, therefore, equals 2. Again, the reason we use the opposite is because this was the same as x minus 1. This was the same as x minus 3. This is the same as x plus 4, so use the opposite. But when you get to multiplication, the way you undo multiplication is you use the actual number that's attached with it. So again, getting practice, here we're going to take this 5. This is 5 times x. 5 has to go, so we divide by 5. 40 divided by 5 is 8. And then 24. This is what we have to get rid of. That's 2 times x, so we divide by 2. We divide by 2, and x is equal to 9. You will not have to draw those boxes when you leave this worksheet. But until you finish this worksheet, do it, because you need to make sure you're seeing exactly what you're moving. I think some of you, especially on that two-step equation stuff, you don't really see what you're moving. You're literally just putting numbers on the paper for no reason whatsoever. So you want to make sure you recognize, first off, here's my wall. Second off, x is over here with 3, and the 3 is what has to go. Well, that 3, as I'm focusing on, because that's what needs to go, is being multiplied by x. So I will divide by 3 and divide by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. X comes down, and that is all. Here, x is grouped up with this 8. Divide by 8, divide by 8. 24 divided by 8 is 3. Bring down your x. That is all. Once you start to see it, everything gets easier. The reason why you're kind of maybe out of it is because everybody seems to see it and you don't. Well, the reason you don't see it is because you're literally not looking at it the right way. X is over here. It's with a 5. That 5 is being multiplied. The opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide by 5 on both sides. 30 divided by 5 is 6. Bring down your x. Everything is done. This is our wall. 9 times x is what I'm looking at. I've got to get rid of this 9. Again, that's 9 times x. So the opposite of multiplication is division. 81 divided by 9 is 9. X comes down after that, and everything is done. And the last one-step equation that we have is division. And again, same thing. There's our wall. This is the number that has to go. This literally says x divided by 3. And since it says x divided by 3, the way we get rid of it is by multiplying by 3. You can put times 3, dot 3, or parentheses 3, as long as you know that means you're multiplying by 3. These two things will go away. The reason we put this there is so these go away. So don't even touch that. Just bring down your x. 5 times 3 is 15. Again, you can put parentheses 3. You can put dot 3, however you want to do it. Just make sure, again, that you recognize that you're multiplying by putting the number on top. Here, our wall is here. 7 has to go. That's x divided by 7. The opposite of divided by is times, so we're going to multiply this by 7. Again, when you write that, these two things go away. 7 times 3 now becomes 21. And that is all. There is nothing else with this. 31, here's my wall. 6 is the number that has to go. This literally says x divided by 6. So to get rid of the 6, because it's being divided, we multiply both sides by 6. The reason I put this 6 up there is so this goes away. X comes down. 6 times 2 is 12. If you're getting bored of hearing this, it's because it's that straightforward. It's literally see it, follow a step, and go from there. 32. There's your wall. This is x divided by 8. 8 has to go. So therefore, we're going to multiply by 8. X is going to come down. 8 times 4 is 32. That is that. (33) 7 equals x over 5. Our wall is here. The number with x is 5. This is x divided by 5. So the way I get rid of that 5 is by multiplying by 5. 5 times 7 is 35. X comes down because those 5s are gone. And that is all. Same thing on 34. X is on the right, 3 is with it. This literally says x divided by 3, so the way we get rid of that 3 is by multiplying by 3. Once you practice it enough, it's the easiest thing ever. 3 times 9 is 27. Equals comes down. Those 3's are there to go away, so x comes down. I keep seeing people put this and then they multiply the 3 by x, which doesn't make sense. The reason this 3 is here is so these two things cancel out. That's it. You don't put it there or do anything else but get rid of it. The only thing you multiply it by is the side where the x is not. So again, 8 equals x over 2. X is on the right with 2. So I'm going to end up with x no matter what because I'm going to get rid of the 2. The question is, what do I do to get rid of this 2? Well, if it's x divided by 2, that means I'm going to multiply. Once again, this is here not to be worked out, but to get rid of this 2. This is where we multiply. That's where your answer is. You do not multiply both sides. That number is shown to show what you did so that when everything is said and done, you can go ahead and go from there. Now pay attention before we do this one because I am going to be making up more questions. So we're not done with this just because we're at 636 on your worksheet. You'll still need to copy a few more, but here we go. This says 3 equals x over 8. Again, we're going to look at this here. Recognize this says x divided by 8, which means I'm going to multiply by 8. Those two things go away. 8 times 3 is 24. Equals comes down and x comes down. Number 37. Let's see. X minus 6 equals 10. It is in your best interest to do what you just did on this worksheet, to use your notes from this worksheet, or do whatever you can do. Pause the video and try this out for yourself, or just copy it. But if you copy it, you're not going to get any better. Let's just look at the fact that we've been solving now on this for over a month, and if you don't know how to do it, it means you need to get some practice. So pause the video, try it out, see it for yourself. You should not be in a rush because you have all hour on this to finish it, and if you finish too fast, you have to sit and do extra work anyway. But again, try this out, see if you can do it. Check yourself on this. Identify where x is, put the box around the number that you want to get rid of, draw your line for the equal sign, all that good stuff. I'll count to about 10 and then we'll get started. Okay, so what we're looking at here, again, this is where the line is. That's where the wall is. This is what I need to get rid of. This is x minus 6. If you read this, it says x minus 6. When you think minus, you think opposite of minus is plus 6. And you always have to think opposite. If you're not thinking opposite, then you have not been paying attention at all over the last month. Every time you go to solve, you think opposite. If you read it as x minus 6, literally just read it, x minus 6. Think about the fact that that says minus 6, which means we'll use plus 6. 38. X over 3 equals 10. This is just my way of mixing these up to see what you got. Again, if you read it, whatever operation you read, use the opposite to move that number. But I would draw that line for the wall. I would identify what number needs to move and then move it using the opposite direction of whatever is going on with x. So take again about 10 seconds or so, answer this question. Let's see how it works. If your wall is here, the number with x is 3. This literally says x divided by 3, which means if it's x divided by 3, the opposite of divided by is times. So I should be multiplying by 3. These two 3's go away, so x comes down. 3 times 10 is 30, and that is all. There is nothing difficult about this, I promise you. You just have to care enough to stop caring, to stop wanting to stop missing them in general. (4x = 20). Again, read this problem. Think about what the operation means. Use your notes. Use something. Because again, what I'm seeing is people who are missing these things and they aren't even using notes. They're not even getting close. And if that's what's going to happen, you're not going to pass this semester. You're going to be in this class again next year. I suggest you go ahead and get it right so you don't have to do that. Because if you fail this solving chapter, you're probably going to fail the next chapter and the chapters that come up to have solving in it, because there is solving in some other chapters coming up. But anyway, 4x = 20. Draw your boundary line. Identify what needs to leave. Ask yourself what's going on between it and use the opposite. Take about 10 seconds or pause the video, but I'm going to count to about 10 and then I'm going to go ahead and get going. The wall is here. This is what I'm getting rid of. That needs to go because it's 4 times x by using divided by 4. Divided by 4. The 4's go away. I don't even care about that side. I know that those 4's over there to go away anyway. And 20 divided by 4 is 5. And then 40. X plus 7 = 9. Again, check this out. See what you got. See if you can get that right. Just focus on your basics on this stuff and you should be okay. So I'll count to about 10, give you a second to do what you need to do, and then answer it, and then we'll get done with this thing. We go here. X plus 7 = 9. Again, plus 7 is what's with x. That's adding 7, x plus 7, so therefore we're going to do the opposite, which is minus 7 minus 7. X comes down, 9 minus 7 is 2, and that is all. Make sure your name is on this thing. Turn it into your teacher so you can get your credit and then get the work for the day, and then make sure you do as much as you can to kind of practice whatever you can. The next day you're in class, we'll do one with 2-step equations, and then Thursday you will take the test on the solving 2-step equations that you did last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago, whatever that is, but that's the plan. So outside of that, go ahead and again hand this in to your teacher, and talk to you later. Have a good day.